Trauma is one of those terms that is constantly misused or overused or watered down. If you are on social media, you've probably come across the word trauma or traumatized. You've seen people use the word traumatized, and you're probably wondering, what does it really mean to be traumatized, or what is trauma? What does trauma really mean? In this video, I'm going to help you understand what trauma is and what it's not, and what it means to be traumatized. I believe this is a very important conversation to have at this time, because understanding what trauma really is helps us to decipher the traumas in our own lives, and this helps us to show up to ourselves in a more compassionate and empathic way. And beyond ourselves, it also helps us to understand what other people might be going through, and this helps us to be more compassionate towards people, as well as opens up the pathways to seeking support and pursuing healing for our own traumatic experiences. Hi, my name is Dr. Vivian Okoye. I'm a psychologist with specialty in child and relational trauma. I'm a certified trauma therapist and addiction therapist. And I am on a mission to help as many people as possible to push past the scars of trauma so that they can heal themselves, so that they stop bleeding on themselves and the ones that they love, right? So what really is trauma? Trauma is an event, experience, or interaction that was too much for us, for our brain, and for our system to decipher, to understand, and to digest, right? And a traumatic experience is not just about something that happened or something that was too much for us. It can be something that was too much, something that was too fast or too early, or something that did not happen for us. And I will explain. So, for example, if someone was in a car accident, or if someone suddenly lost a loved one, that would be too much because it was not expected. If a child grew up in a family where the parents fell sick, or the parents are alcoholics, and then this child is now tasked with the responsibility of caring for her younger ones, or even the sick parent or the alcoholic parent, that experience is too fast for the child. This child was made to become an adult and to take adult responsibility too early in their life, and that experience can be traumatic for the child. Another example would be somebody who grew up in an environment where they did not get the love, the safety, or the attention that they needed as a child, right? So this is something that did not happen for this person or to this person, and that can be a traumatic experience for that person. And now, trauma is not just about what happened to us, but it is more about how we perceived what happened, how we interpreted what happened, right? The changes that experience caused in our lives, in our nervous system, in our behaviors, and how these changes then inform our responses to life, to people, and how we show up to the world. So let's take, for example, a person who grew up in a household where, they were constantly verbally and emotional abused, they were criticized, they were berated, they were belittled, right? This ongoing experience can be a traumatic event for the person, and the person can begin to perceive themselves as unlovable and as unworthy. That is the perception of that experience, right? And in turn, based on this, the person might start to exhibit some characteristics in response to, that experience, right? They might become withdrawn, they might have low self-esteem, they might even have heightened anxiety, or they might become aggressive. And for some people, it might be that perception of being unworthy or unlovable might make them go extra miles to actually get people to give them attention or to love them, because they feel that they need to do too much for people to actually notice them and love them. And this can have a long-lasting impact on this individual. It can even lead to mental health challenges like depression, anxiety, And it can make this person actually, depending on, the cycle and how things pan out, it can make this person also become a perpetrator of the same trauma that they experience. So this person can grow up into an adult who is also emotionally and verbally abusive, right? So that is the cycle of trauma. There is an experience. There is our perception of that experience. And then that experience can change our behavior. It can change how we interact and relate to people. It can change our nervous system depending on what it is. And then we then begin to respond to people, to life, and to the world at large based on all of that. And this is what we call trauma response. Another thing we need to understand is that two people can experience the same event or the same interactions but react to them or perceive them in different ways. So two people or two siblings can grow up in the same home, experience the same verbal and emotional abuse but respond differently, and you're wondering why. There are different factors that contribute to how we respond to our traumatic experiences. One of them might be age, right? For example, your age will determine your understanding of the experience or the events that occurred, right? And your perception of it, right? Another thing or another factor might be your emotional resilience. Some people are more resilient emotionally than others. So people who are more emotionally resilient might come out of that experience unscattered, and the other person might actually be weighed down by that same experience. Another thing is personality. Some people have a carefree personality while others are more sensitive, right? Another factor is the support available or the relationships available to the people. So for example, a child who is growing up in a dysfunctional home, or two children who are growing up in a dysfunctional home, might come out of it differently because of maybe the relationship they have with the teacher at school, the relationship they have with friends who provide succor and support for them outside of their home. So it all depends. So in summary, what I have tried to say is that trauma is a series of events or an event that is too much for us. And I went on to explain that it could be something that happened to us, or something that happened too frequently or too much or too suddenly, something that was too fast, or something that did not happen to us at all. I also went on to explain that trauma is not just about what happened to us, but how we perceived it, the changes it caused in us, and how we started to respond to people and to the world, and even to ourselves based on that experience. And finally, I explained that two people can go through the same experiences but respond to them differently, right? So I believe that in a nutshell, this has explained to us what trauma is and what it is not. And in future videos, we'll dive deeper into, how trauma can show up in our lives and how we might be responding to trauma even in our adult life. So I'm hoping that this has been helpful to each and every one of us. If you have any question, kindly drop them in the comments and I'll attend to all of them as much as I can. If you're not following my channel, please click the link or click the subscribe button and follow, and I will be dropping videos on similar topics every week. And I hope that you share this video, you like it, and you comment. See you next week, and bye.